Let me ask you a question. Are you ever the first one in, the last one out? Do you ever get home late, reheat dinner, open your laptop again on the couch? Maybe you are the one who fixes the presentation, the slide deck. You pick up the slack, remember the birthday gift for the team. And when you're looking for that next role, for that next, maybe it's a promotion, your name is missing. And the very people you help every day, they're moving up while you stay where you are. If your situation, if your week looks anything like that, and you're still not moving up, you're still not leveling up to where you want to be, then this video is for you. After coaching ambitious women, I see a pattern in almost every stalled story. And it's not that you're not working hard enough, and it's not, it's that you've learned a quiet rule that keeps you stuck in the background. Now stay with me, because I'm going to give you one sentence, one move, one element that you can use in real time this week to start breaking that cycle. So if this hits home, stick around. If you want more like this, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. So look, let me call out the pattern that you're probably in, because it's the same one I was in, and many of my clients when they first come to me. So, were you perhaps raised to be the reliable one? At school, did you learn if you stayed prepared and quiet, you were good? The thing is, you've gone and brought that into the workplace. That's the same rule you brought into your workplace. The one that says, keep your head down, do the work, do it well, do more than anyone else, get the reward. You know what, let's call it what it is. It's the work harder, wait quietly rule. The one that tells you, if I work hard enough and I prove myself, they will notice and my time will come. Now, absolutely, that rule works in school. And in fact, the schooling system rewards that. We know very, very well that the schooling system rewards that. But unfortunately, in the workplace, it just doesn't work. I'm yet to come across a workplace where that does work. Let me guess the strategy right now as well. And I wonder if you can resonate with anything of this and if any of it feels a bit familiar to you. Do you take on the extra tasks? Do you stay later than most of your team? You might even be the one who turns the light switch off, perhaps. Are you fixing mistakes before anybody even knows they've happened? And when a new colleague starts, are you the one they ask them to help settle in? Of course you are, and of course you do, because you're the dream employee. And although on paper that's what it looks like, in practice, unfortunately, like many of us have done in the past, you've fallen into the work harder and wait strategy, where we work harder and we wait for someone to spot us. Or we work harder and we wait for someone to tap us on the shoulder and go, there you go, good job, let's go. Well, while you're waiting, there's a hidden cost. Because what's happened is you've become the safe pair of hands in the background. And that's because you're brilliant. You're brilliant getting things done. In fact, you're so good at it that you're almost the only one people trust to handle it. But they do kind of want you to handle it quietly. Now, look, we all like a pat on the back. And although that sounds like a compliment, and in many ways it is, it's also a trap, and that's what I want you to see. Because I don't know if you've been in the room, I don't know if you are in the room, but when leaders sit in a room and they ask the question, who are our next managers? Who are our next heads of department? I'll let you in a secret. They're not asking who works the most hours. They're asking, when somebody comes into the room, who's showing up with leadership in the room? So that's why the work harder and wait strategy is costing you. And it's costing you three things in particular. Let's go through them. The first is your time. Okay, so because those extra hours, they've got to come from somewhere. How's your sleep? How are your relationships? How's your health? The second is your energy. ever wake up not just tired, but exhausted, drained? Maybe you ever do you snap at colleagues or at loved ones quicker than maybe you would like to, want to? Or maybe it's when you're brushing your teeth and you look in the mirror and you catch yourself doubting who you are, what you're capable of, or you have these thoughts going through your head. The third one, that's visibility. And the unfortunate truth here is that the more that you sit with it quietly and you sort of in that quiet fix and hold position, the more people just assume that you can cope with just a bit more. And so, as I said earlier, in principle, you become essential to your current role, but not visible for your next one. So, let me give you an example from my own career, right? So, when I worked in corporate, one of my corporate roles, I wanted to change the world. I was going to change the world. It's how I felt about my work. It's what I thought about my work. It's who I was. It's who I am. I'm going to change the world. And I got myself into a position and I felt like I negotiated my way there. And when I got to the contract phase, I thought I'd negotiated a pretty fair contract, to be fair. On paper, I ticked the box. And so I just went, okay, well, now it's just time to knuckle down, put the head down, and get to work. So the work hard and wait strategy. Boy, did I put the hours in. And then what happened was other people started to ask me to help them. Because if you want something done, you ask a busy person. And of course, I said yes. Because I wanted to be seen as the team player. I wanted to be seen as the person they could trust. I'd been taught my whole life about, diligence and respect and how much those two things mattered. And so that is how I showed up in my day to day. That's how I showed up in my role. And what I got for my effort, what I got for my time, what I got for all of my energy that I put in there was exhaustion. I mean, every day I'd wake up and I'd be drained before the day had even started. And I also I put myself in a position where I was a linchpin in the role. I was the person that everything flowed through. And when they then offered me I'm going to call it the next step, it wasn't a real next step. It was the same role, just more tasks, more hours, more responsibility. Nothing else changed. And I worked for a while like that, but I got grumpy. And I remember snapping one day, like a proper snap. And I remember a senior leader pulling me aside. And he said to me, and we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, so this really had a big impact. He said, look, Sky, you're doing a good job. And I need you to know that I can see that. Now, it's not being seen in the rooms that matter, but I'm going to support you through that. But we do need to change the way you're showing up. And that blew me away. That I was stunned because I realized I'd been working in this role and in this level, and I'd never actually really stepped into the room, even though I thought I was in the room. So that pattern had failed me. And worst of all was that I had started to bring it home, and it had started to affect my home life. Now, look, the point here, it's a simple one. This is that I'm trying to make. Is you can be exceptional at your job. You can be absolutely exceptional at your job. And being exceptional is great. Of course, strive for it. But you need to understand that your current job, your current role, your current career, maybe whatever that looks like for you, it's the starting line, not the finish line. So, look, what is it specifically about this pattern and how it fails? So, why does this pattern really fail? And it can fail spectacularly. Especially for ambitious women in mid and senior level roles. Because when I work with my clients, I see three things that show up again and again. The three things are imposter syndrome or feelings, perfectionism, and then a fear of asking. So let's talk first about imposter feelings. It's something that I know a lot of people know about, but just to coin it, do you ever find yourself saying to yourself, I'm not ready? Or they'll realize I'm out of my depth. Or, oh, you know what? I just need that one more qualification over here. So what happens is you you do what we all do. You sign up for the course, right? And you collect more certificates than you have binders for, and you delay putting yourself forward in the room. And I remember helping a client and really trying to help them understand they need to apply for the role and through this she was like, no, I just and so I think she was doing her third qualification at the time. And what happened was someone else with less experience basically applied first and got the promotion, got the job. And it wasn't a fun day, if I'm honest, because she landed up training them as well, and it was just awful. But we worked through that, and I got her to realize what had happened. And actually, now she works for a different company in a much higher role, and she's amazing. I have so much time for her. And the second that I mentioned was perfectionism. So the way perfectionism talks to you is it says, if I speak, it must be flawless. Or if I take on that project, I can't afford mistakes, can't afford to make mistakes. And the other one is along the lines of if I have a presentation, every slide must be bulletproof. So what happens is you go and you polish everything behind the scenes. Beautiful shine. You prepare for every question. And in reality, you've actually gone and left your best thinking on your laptop and you haven't brought it into the room. The third one that I mentioned was the fear of asking. So here, this is about a voice that says to you, and it comes from a lot of belief systems, but it's sentences such as, I don't want to be difficult, or I don't want to be seen as difficult, or maybe I should be grateful for what I have, or if I'm just a bit more patient, they're going to recognize me for sure. And that's the fear of asking. That's what happens. And while that voice is whispering in your ear, you do what we all do. You wait. Now, I don't have to tell you this. You already know, but your boss can't see inside your head, just like your partner can't see inside your head, just like your friend can't see inside your head. And when you just show up and you say, oh, okay, well, I'm just doing and I'm just being, they assume you're happy with where you are. Yeah, this is the hard truth here. Leaders very rarely, if ever, promote on effort alone. So what are they looking for? And what do they promote? It's the person they trust will speak up when something is off. The person who's going to take ownership when things are unclear, and the person who can communicate clearly with peers, clients, senior leaders, every level. In principle, they're looking for the person who shows up in the meeting, has a viewpoint, and can handle it. So if you're still with me here, think of a colleague or a person that's been promoted rather recently in the last year, and think of in that moment, did they have the same level of experience as you? Did they have the same knowledge, know-how as you? Maybe they even asked you for help with the details for something. And then when they were in the big meeting, they raised their hand first, they took on the messy project no one wanted, and they gave the imperfect update to senior leadership. And then they went and survived the questioning. It wasn't that they did well, they survived it. But in that moment, their voice, they've become the trusted voice in the room. And becoming the trusted voice has given them that opportunity. Now, there's another layer here as well that I've certainly seen in my clients, and it's something I feel that women in particular feel that men don't. And it's very rarely put a name to, very rarely said out loud. You were probably and arguably taught to be helpful, to be nice, to be easy to work with. And then the examples around you told you that you also had to carry the emotional load, both at work and at home. And so you do that. You are helpful. You're nice. You're easy to work with. You carry the emotional load, right? But also, you have an ability to sense the mood of a team, to pick up the drop ball, and to smooth over tension. Now, these are powerful skills. They're soft skills, but they're incredibly powerful leadership skills because it helps you pivot and shift. But when they're happening quietly, no one is connecting them to leadership. So in turn, your reality becomes one of this, where you are overqualified in effort, you are underexposed in places where it matters. Now keep watching, because I'm about to give you that one small thing, that one element that's going to help you shift that balance, move things around. This week, real time. And the best thing about this is that you don't even have to pretend to be somebody you're not. I don't do the fake it till you make it. So let's make it simple. Let's make it doable. Your mission this week, should you choose to accept it, one meeting, one sentence. That's it. Not a full presentation, not a new project, just one sentence that you're going to say out loud. So there are 5 simple steps when I explain this. So I'll walk you through these very quickly. Your step 1 is to pick a meeting that you very commonly attend. It's something you know the flow for, right? You can almost predict it, okay? So let's not start with the highest sort of stakes meeting that you attend, such as a board meeting, something like that. You got to know the topic. You got to be able to predict the flow. And then you kind of have a rough feeling for what they want to achieve, because that's step 2. Clarify that outcome of that meeting before you go in. So it's asking yourself the question, what is that meeting trying to achieve? What is this meeting trying to achieve? Is it maybe a timeline? Is it to address risks before you launch a project or a product? Maybe it's to line a team on priorities, right? But then write it down in one line. This meeting is to decide on a timeline. This meeting is to raise risks for the new launch. Then once you've got that sentence, step 3 is to spot an idea or a risk. So ask yourself, what's one thing that I know, that I see, that really matters in this? So it could be actually that you've gone through this process many times and it's a risk that no one ever mentions, but always comes up. You might know that it's a pattern across the team. Or you might look at something and go, do you know what, I actually have a better way of doing that so I can make the outcome better. So examples here would be, I see a risk with our dates clashing with school holidays, so the team is going to be depleted. Or maybe it's I see that the support staff are not included in this change yet, and they're going to be the one that fields the calls. Then step 4 is to take that and to turn it into one sentence. So this is the structure I use with my clients. They find it very helpful. Hopefully you do too. One thing I'm seeing is X because Y. Okay, so one thing I'm seeing is a risk with launching that on Monday because it's the first day after a long weekend and our support inbox is always full, so we're not going to have capacity. Or one thing I'm seeing is an opportunity to bring the support team into this earlier because they're going to get most of the questions from the customers. Then step 5, say it in the room. Take that sentence, take that block, have it written in a notebook, on a sticky note, on a screen, or on your tablet if that's where you take notes. Just take it with you in the room. And then when you're in the meeting, during the meeting, what we're doing is we're listening for that moment where your point fits. When there's a pause or the topic comes up that you can apply with your sentence, say, I have a quick point to add here. One thing I'm seeing is X because Y. Then I want you to do the hardest thing of all. Stop. Don't rush to justify your point. I want you to sit there and let the room react. We need to see how people are reacting, right? If they ask questions, that's fine, but give yourself permission to stop and not justify your point. From years of doing this and working with different people, including myself, I know for certain your heart's going to race. And almost 100% certain that your voice is going to be a little bit shaky. But that does not mean you're not ready. It means you are right on the edge of something great, a new habit. It means your nervous system is reprogramming itself and it's learning something new. Now, to be clear, the goal is not to be the loudest person in the room. The goal is to be a visible thinker in the room. One meeting, one sentence. And what I've noticed is when women start doing this in meetings, I often get messages in the same way. They say, hey, you wouldn't believe it. They've asked me to lead the next update. Or my boss pulled me aside. They said, I noticed that you spoke up and, thank you for contributing so valuably. So now the idea of speaking up like this, yes, it's going to make you feel a bit sick to your stomach. A swirl in your chest, a tightness in your throat. Because even the most experienced speakers, and I know a few, they still feel a little bit of that anxiety. So yeah, you're not broken. You're normal. And for many women, I know that another 2 hours of quiet work often feels safer than 10 seconds of being visible, because you ask yourself, or you say things to yourself that we've all said to ourselves, which is, what if I'm wrong? What if they push back? What if I sound stupid? Or maybe it's that you're afraid of the opposite, which is, what if they actually listen? What if they expect more from me? What if I can't keep it up? These are all very normal questions, very human questions, but if you stay with those questions, you stay in a familiar place. You stay in a place of comfort where you are over-prepared, over-available, and underseen. I really want you to hear this. Feeling shaky does not mean you are not ready. It means you spent years proving your value through your output instead of your voice. And your body is just catching up, just playing catch up with the new way of being seen, with a new way of embracing who you are. So you don't need to become a different person to level up, to get a promotion and all the rest of it. You just need to let people see the person you already are. So this week, if you'll entertain me, I'd like you to notice your own pattern. Or maybe you just think back to a previous meeting. What is your pattern? When you held yourself back, which was louder? The fear of being wrong or the fear of being seen? And sit with the answer. There's no shame in either one of those. Both are human. If you're up for it, share it in the comments. Tell me, when you are held back, what is holding you back from speaking up more? Is it the fear of being wrong or the fear of being seen? Or maybe it's something else. Because your comment is going to help you reflect, which is going to empower you. But it also could help another woman see it and let them think, hey, it's not just me. If you want support turning this into a repeatable habit, you don't have to do it alone. But for now, focus on one thing. Pick the meeting, write the sentence. One thing I'm seeing is X because Y. And then go say it in the room. I'd love if you came back and you told me how it went. And yeah, because if you want that next promotion list to look different from the last one, or your next level up to look different from the last one, don't let this stay as a nice idea. And yeah, subscribe now. And each week I give little tips like this that you can test in real time with real people inside your real workload. If you want tailored advice, that's to your team, to your boss, to your line manager. That's what my one-to-one coaching is for. I walk in and I literally look at your meetings, your stakeholders. We look at building in frameworks, systems, functions that allows you to naturally start to speak up so it doesn't feel so scary. Look, you're already doing the hard work, right? Now is the time to be seen for the level that you already work at. One meeting, one sentence. Let's start there. It's your time to rise.